getting married in about a month. Is that right?
June 5th, yeah.
June 5th.
June 5th, yeah. It's very, very soon, which is
Yeah.
probably why my intake form, I was like, Dallas is going to be like, what is happening here? There's a lot happening.
No, I got it. Because there was one thing you said like 3 times. I'm like, oh, okay, it's this thing. Got
Okay, okay.
it. Fill everyone in on your business, who you serve, and how you help them, and then we'll dive in.
Okay, so I run Legally Bold and I help women of color in the law find better jobs. And with Dallas's help, I'm actually almost full with coaching. I have like one slot left. And so thank you. And so I've been, when I started the Six Figure Coach Club, I started with Dallas because I've been in this, as Dallas says, itchy space where I want to serve more women of color in a program. And I'm starting or want to start like a beta offer for that.
Mhm.
And so I've written it and I'm like confusing myself in the messaging, right? That's one part because I love I call them like Dallas isms. Like I say them to myself, like data over drama. The problem is a solution. Like when I can remember them. And so I kind of want to like figure that out. So that's
Yeah.
one piece.
Mhm.
And then the second piece that you mentioned, even when we did the workshop day, I know video is a very important part of this because a lot of this is about expressing something that we're feeling. Um, but I get like so caught up in like, I don't want to see myself on camera.
Yeah.
And it's really, really like this back and forth with me. And I'm like, okay, but this is important.
Mhm.
And so I'm there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. Okay.
Yeah.
So it sounds like two pieces. One is this video block.
Yeah.
Okay. And two is some core messaging themes that you can hook into in order to make messaging easier.
Yes.
Yeah. And
Yes.
I don't mean the act of figuring out your message, I mean actually sharing the message.
Sharing the message. Right. Right.
Yeah.
So I have a Google Doc of the like offer.
Hmm.
Um and I went through the Spark sheets from the beginning and I was like, oh, okay, I kind of have the themes in here.
Hmm.
It's like, oh, okay, I actually it
Hmm.
came out. Okay, that's good. um, but I think in expressing it, yeah, I'm just all caught up in my head around it.
Totally.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's hard for us to know,
Mhm.
but where my gut is calling me right now is to have a conversation for this is not how I thought this was going to happen. Have a conversation first about the video block.
Mhm.
Like if we could either just decide you're not doing video and take that pressure off, or decide you are and have a reason to do video
Mhm.
that's way bigger than your fear, that may open up space for us to then talk about the content. But if we're talking about the content with this unresolved issue around, oh my God, am I gonna have to be on camera? It could get messy. Are you
Okay.
cool with that?
Yes. Yes.
Great. So talk to me about like the part of you that doesn't want to be on video. What does she have for us?
I knew something was there because when I first started talking about it, like I felt like, oh, there's some heat even just saying like I have an issue with video. And I think it's that one of the themes that came out from the Spark interviews was this whole conversation around wealth, right? And like generational wealth. And this idea that a lot of Black women have degrees and they've achieved all these things, but they still, like some even said, like the cheat code to actually generating wealth. It's like you get in these spaces and then you're still like struggling financially and you're not happy in the job, right? The corporate environment, you hate it. And I think what it is for me is like, I'm just figuring out the wealth thing for myself. Like, I'm very just like figuring it out and had gone to law school and have law school debt. And I thought Angela was going to be here because I heard her podcast and I was like, oh, this is so great. It's so true.
Hmm.
And so I think I feel like I'm still in process. And so to get on video to really share that process, it feels like I should be doing that. That would be helpful. It also feels extremely exposing. And so I need like some structure around that so I'm not like just crying and turning the video off. Right.
Yeah. Okay. So is there a difference for you around it feeling exposing and it feeling unsafe? Because if it doesn't feel safe, you don't have to do video.
It doesn't feel unsafe. I think it feels exposing.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
And vulnerable and
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I think we can create a cause here.
Okay.
So when I say create a cause, what I mean is find some sort of motivation. And this is a total hack. And I wish that that motivation was all inside of my heart. Like, I wish that I loved my inner self enough that all I had to do was say, okay, this is for me and only me. I'm not there yet.
Mm-hmm.
So finding a motivation outside of myself that outweighs my hangups or fears.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, that's this 6.5-year-old girl I know who I am going to get emotional thinking about it, right? But I just want to be the kind of woman that who she sees doing scary things.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be the kind of model for her of what it means to like own your life. And that, like, I can get on video with that.
Mm-hmm.
If it's just me, Toya, like, my hair didn't work today, so now I have a banana clip in. I'm not going on video with a banana clip. Right? Or I don't quite know what to like. There's a bazillion reasons not to. And I'm someone who's not consistent with video, everybody. That's my own learning curve right now. But what's been working is like my Farina connection, but also just thinking about all of the coaches out there who have decided that they are not cut out for this simply
Mm-hmm.
because they have not had the right training and support.
Right.
That really breaks me. And so that's a cause that I can also get behind.
Mm-hmm.
So if we thought about your audience for this program, I think there's a complete connection between the stuff around video for you and the stuff around generational wealth for them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So like if you could begin creating a cause here, like where do you feel called?
You know, when you said the idea of owning your own life,
Mm-hmm.
like to me, like that's what that was like the hit it for me, because it feels like you do all these things in the professional realm and getting school and do all this to own your own life, and then you get there and you still don't own it.
You don't.
You still don't own it. You're still not free. You're still struggling. You're still fighting to be paid fair. Like, you're still, and it just, I think, yeah, that cause for me, when you said that, I was like, oh yeah, like that's kind of where what makes this business and continuing to do this very important for me as well. It's like, I want to
Mm-hmm.
own my own life. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I don't want anyone else to
Mm-hmm.
own that for me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, that feels like the cause. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
for sure, for
Mm.
sure.
So how, if at all, does being on video help you own your own life and model what that looks like?
I think in modeling what that looks like, I think it's modeling the imperfections. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like I always, it's like Black women, we're polished. Like, you're going somewhere, you're dressed up, you look good, da, da, da. And so you don't show anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so even in that is not owning your life. That's owning a persona.
Mm-hmm.
But my older sister is a therapist, and like, there's all this shit happening behind the good looks and the clothes and all this. And so even that is not owning your own life. And so to me, being on video in that way and kind of just showing up and saying, like, I'm facilitating this space for us to, just like you said, own your own life and like come as you are for real, feels like that's why that is important.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, and so that feels why, like, that's a part of it. Like, being on video and saying that is important.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Is it enough? If we then like
Mhm.
have a framework for you and a little bit of structure, is is that enough to get started?
For get started for me being on video, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think so. I think when you were talking, what I was thinking is like I probably need like a mantra.
That's what I was just thinking too.
I probably need like a mantra. And then you always say create habits. Like I need to create a habit like every Tuesday at 10 or something.
Yeah.
To kind of make it like make me do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So mantra, habit, and some form of accountability.
Yeah.
I'm going to confess to all of you, I've done great in the last like 10 days being on video consistently. 10 days. Like, yay for me. Can I tell you why? Because Julie's job is to make sure that I do this things I say I'm going to do.
Mhm.
So, like, and I just know that. I know that if I'm really going to follow through on the thing I say I want to do, like, someone else make me do it, please.
Yes.
And then it gets easier and easier. So
Yeah.
I think the habit is one piece, but some form of external accountability. We
Hmm.
can talk about what that might look like, but let's go back to the mantra.
Okay.
I want to share. I actually want to share my Mother's Day skirt. It has
Oh, it's
it has
beautiful.
zebras on it and it's beautiful. Okay, good. Got that done. There is a Six Figure Coach Club member. Her name is Christine Horn.
Mhm.
Christine is one of those people who I just see her and I'm like, oh, I want to be as cool as Christine.
Mhm.
And she just has that effect on a lot of people. She did an Instagram reel. Her handle, I believe, is Christine Horn Actress. Let me see. I want you to follow her.
Okay.
Um, Her reels are so good, and she's just like all of the things. So, and those are, this is the she's an acting coach.
Mhm.
And this is the mantra that she says to herself before every audition,
Mm.
right? And she's just like so embodied,
Mhm.
right? So when you were saying a mantra, I thought she needs a Christine Horn,
Mhm.
right? So what that might look, so I think if we make this actionable,
Mhm.
um, it's the third post on her feed. It's this one right here,
Yes.
right?
Got it. Uh-huh.
So maybe use that as a bit of a template.
Yeah.
It's like, I am here to own my own life and model that for other women of color,
Mhm.
right? The more real I am on video, the more I'm owning that mission. Here we go.
Yeah.
So do you have an action piece around the mantra part? Can you?
Yes, yes. I'm gonna one rewatch Christine's video and start with what you said, which I am here to own my own life and kind of add to it and
Mhm,
to model that for other women of color.
mhm,
Yeah, that feels like, and I might need like one thing, but I'm gonna like print that out, put it on my wall, like do the whole thing.
mhm.
Because that's what was missing. Yeah,
Yeah,
that, yeah, yeah,
great.
for
Okay, so
sure,
there's
for
the
sure.
mantra.
Yeah.
What about the habit?
The habit is so I kind of set up accountability. I have a VA and she's lovely. And I'm supposed to, even now for the Legally Bold, I'm supposed to send her like a video on Tuesdays. I was supposed to send it yesterday. I told my fiance, yeah, I got to do video. The video did not, didn't happen. It didn't go. And I was like, oh, I'm going to do it today. And it's, 1:30 my time. And it's like, I have ideas. So I guess the habit, I think I need to figure out something else in terms of like, oh, that's accountability. The habit is I have a day, right? So the day is Tuesdays that I'm supposed to like send the video. So I have the habit. I
Mhm,
think it's the accountability. Like,
mhm,
yeah, I
mhm.
need something around the accountability for that
Okay,
to
let's talk about
actually
the
do.
accountability and then
Mm-hmm.
we'll flesh out the habit a little bit. Okay, so you have a VA who politely waits for you to send a video, and if you don't, like, oh, okay, that's normal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Nothing's
Yes.
actually wrong. She never sends a video, and we all just move on.
Right, right, right.
Okay. Okay,
Exactly.
great.
Exactly.
So what do we do? Okay, so how can we up the ante around accountability?
Ooh. Oh gosh. I feel like what comes up is money,
Oh. Oh,
right?
oh, okay.
So I was like, one thing that the last time I had to do something, this is like, oh, am I gonna say this? Okay, the last time I had to really do something, it was for people on the call. I'm very liberal. I was not a Trump supporter, so Trump was one.
Shocker. I'm shocked.
So Trump was running for his second election, and it was like, if you don't, I forget what it was. My accountability is like you have to donate to his campaign, right? So, and it was like $500 or something to the Trump campaign, and I was like, oh my god, I'm never doing that. And then I did the thing that I needed to do because it was like I'm never doing that.
Hmm.
So, I'm trying to think if there's something like that. Um, yeah, there's all sorts of nonsense. I don't I don't have an answer to that at this moment, but that's what comes up. Like I need something like that.
Yeah.
That's like, you know, yeah, like you have to donate to like I like to pollute the ocean or something like that. Like something that's just like, why would you do that?
Right.
Never. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
this is actually, believe it or not, everyone, another form of creating a cause.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And for some, there are two types of, I'm sure there are more, but I like to think of two types of motivation. One is discomfort motivation, and one is inspiration motivation.
Mm-hmm.
For some of us, inspiration motivation is enough. For me, I need a little bit of discomfort, or I'm just
Mm-hmm.
gonna like stay in my chair, right? So,
Right.
all right, so you can kind of think about like how do I raise the stakes, but we could also create some more structure in your relationship with your VA.
Okay.
So, one could be Monday. She is your VA a woman?
Yes.
Okay, she sends you like, "Hey, send me your video idea on Monday." Right? Tuesday morning. Just a reminder, your video is due today.
Got it.
Just because for me, even just that little bit of shame is helpful.
Mm-hmm.
It just feels super lame to be like, haha, not doing it.
Yeah.
Right. And maybe
Yeah.
there could be an incentive for her. Like, if you want to, like, if money is a big motivator, like, she charges you of a service fee when you don't do
Mm.
it.
Yeah.
She never reminds you, just so she can charge you a service fee. So I would have like
Uh-huh.
a brain a conversation with her about
Mm-hmm.
how you can get actually pressure from her to
Mm-hmm.
follow through on this. It sounds like it's just the hardest part is getting started,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah. Oh,
Right.
yeah,
I've
that
promised
would do.
myself, right,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
to own my own life and model that for others. And what that looks like for me right now is going on video every Tuesday. So
Oh,
if you all don't see a video on Tuesdays, you need to call me out.
yeah. Yeah, that would do it.
Yeah.
I'm laughing because, like, gosh, you people are smart, and I have to do this. No, that would I like all of these suggestions.
Mhm.
Answering Julie's question in the chat about she usually just she doesn't she'll tell me like there's like a little task that comes up that the video is due, and she usually will send me an email on Wednesday like, hey, I didn't get your video, just a little gentle nudge. But I think like you said, having her like, okay, tell me your idea on Monday,
Mhm.
it's due today, like that kind of accountability, the calendaring and all that. And then I love the idea of telling my audience I feel very nervous about telling them that, but it is a way like the public accountability would
Mhm.
do it as well. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it's just also modeling the messiness of owning your own life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we all have to remember that what our clients, what our audience appreciates most is our striving. I say this often, right? It's not Toya, like suddenly you're doing videos every Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to get so much value and connection through seeing you miss a week, which I'm not trying to give
Mm-hmm.
you permission to miss a week, but
Right.
right, like that's really letting people in on our own striving, our own process is where that's where we really make a difference for people.
Got it. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And a couple of other pieces around this. Um, I know for me, what's been working, and again, like look at me, I'm an expert. We've been consistent for 10 days. It's awesome. But what's different, right, is we've built structure more than just an appointment on my calendar to shoot videos. Because then
Mm-hmm.
it's like me and my camera. What do I want to talk about? I don't really know, right? And
Right.
if inspiration doesn't land, forget it. So now we've built out, and Julie, jump in if I have this wrong, but it's basically 4 weeks in a month. So the first Friday of the month is where I write out my bullet points. That's the idea generation. Here we
Eight
go.
hours a month.
Right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
This is our plan for Reels.
Mm-hmm.
I've been going live also and just following the same plan, right? Then I'm going to batch shoot on the second week. Then we kick it over to our video editor because that was the other thing that got me really hung up was like, okay, I'm going to shoot these, but I don't know how to add the things and how do I edit it? And I thought, oh, I know someone who knows how to do that. So let me
Right.
just kick it over to him.
Got it.
And then it goes back to Julie to schedule. So look at all the accountability I have built in here. There are
Mm-hmm.
people whose jobs now depend on me doing the thing I keep saying I want to do. So
Right.
that's also been helpful. So I would recommend that you, even if it's once a month or every other week, you capture ideas. And this is a perfect segue into giving you some structure here.
Mm-hmm.
Capture ideas so that
Mm-hmm.
when it's Tuesday, you already know what you're going to talk about. That problem, that
Yeah.
barrier has already been broken through.
Yeah. 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 I really like this schedule because batch shooting to me, especially as like video, because I have hangups about how I sound, how I look, but all the things. But if
Mm-hmm.
I just, yes, I like
Mm-hmm.
this. Yes. All this is very, very helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
So let's not even open the door to, oh, but aren't lives better than pre-recorded video? I'll tell you, pre-recorded video is a hell of a lot better than no video.
Right.
Right. So let's like get it going. And then once you're consistent, then you can next level it. Let's just get
Mhm.
consistent. So
Yeah.
you pick four of your favorite shirts, right?
Right.
You do your face once.
Right.
You swap out your earrings if you really want to get fancy and you shoot 4 videos, right?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Good.
Okay.
Okay, let's talk
Yes.
about the piece around like having your taglines or those core content
Mm-hmm.
ideas. I
Mm-hmm.
want to give a shout out to Tamika Awai from Orisha Creative. She was a podcast. We recorded the episode and it's airing sometime soon, right, Julie? I feel like we recorded it a year and a half ago, but it's coming out soon. I think it's episode number 42.
Okay.
Because you all are just like keeping track, right? But she talks about nurture marketing rather than content creation.
Okay.
And this tiny shift for me kind of opened the floodgates
Mm-hmm.
because instead of being in the space of, okay, I got to knock out a video because we're supposed to do video and let me get content out there in the world. It's like, all right, let me continue the conversation I'm already in with my dream client.
Mm-hmm.
And so nurture marketing is all about helping, and so now we're getting into the content frameworks here, helping our dream client come to adopt those essential beliefs that they need in order to say yes to themselves. So a structured way to approach this would be to identify some core themes. What do we see showing up often with our target audience? So when you looked at your Spark sheet, what did you notice?
So the themes, the frustrations one that I mentioned earlier about wealth. Like there I had somebody who was a CPA, someone who was an engineer, and someone who was a doctor. And they're like, I did all this stuff. I went all this school to kind of obtain wealth and have wealth for my family. And really what I have is a lot of like debt. And I'm not free from this particular job. Like I don't own my own life. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was just an understanding really of like how to there's no common understanding of like what wealth is, what it means, how to create it, how to keep it. And I just highlighted this because one person said like cheat code, like she was just looking for the cheat code to like when you become like free, like when you become happy. Because I did all of ththese things. I'm here. I'm in. She has like this really high power job, and she feels much less free than she did when she was like a student and was broke.
Mm-hmm.
So those were common frustrations.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then the other column you said like the fear if the goal isn't met. There was this idea of kind of like legacy. A lot of the women talked about wanting to kind of pass on these lessons to their children, almost like how you talk about Farina, like the
Mm-hmm.
type of person they want them to be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so the fear is like, if I don't figure this out, then how can I like teach my kids this? How can I show them the way if I can't figure it out?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then what they tell themselves, um, there's a lot of like, we've come so far, like Black women have come so far, but it feels like they've come so far on like external things. So the external world is kind of realizing like we need to be more equitable and come to the table, but like um internally it's like it says we need to stop trying to fit in. This is what a woman said. We need to stop trying to fit in and just build our own table instead of trying to sit at someone else's.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like a main theme there too. It was kind of like we've come so far and we're grateful for that, but like internally we're still battling internally, and those things are holding us back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
those were themes.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm just pulling up the Six Figure Coach Club course. So we have now 4 core themes that
Mm-hmm.
you could use as your points of inspiration, right, in
Mm-hmm.
order to come up with content.
Got it.
Instead of like, okay, there's so much happening, and it's almost like a confused mind says no for us.
Mm-hmm.
If there's so many things, Toya, that you could talk about, that it
Right.
becomes overwhelming and we have decision paralysis.
Right.
Okay, so now you've got, I wrote WTF wealth,
Yes.
right? Like
Yes.
that's a theme, right? This idea of freedom
Mm-hmm.
and what that really means. This idea of leaving a legacy and building your own table.
Oh, so perfect.
So where I would begin
Mm-hmm.
would, when it comes to Tuesdays, so Monday I need to create my script, right? And I'm saying script, but it could just be your bullet points, right?
Mm-hmm.
We don't have to get all weird and precious about this. I'm going into the content amplifier. Okay, so
Okay.
now we're always going to track it back to one of these 4 pieces.
Got it.
Now, I say always, but there could be a day where like inspiration strikes and it's easy. I did this week. I'm like, you know what I want to talk about is how to collect testimonials,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which was just like more tangible training. But because we've begun to create this really clear structure, it's actually given me more clarity to make different decisions instead
Right.
of, oh, there's no structure, so I could do anything. It hasn't been helpful. So let's pick one of these today and run it through one of the content frameworks.
Okay. What came
So,
up
yeah.
for me was building a table.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't remember the name of the framework, but I know there's one where you give like I think an example from a person's life or something like that. I don't remember the name of that framework.
The metaphor maker.
The metaphor maker.
Mm-hmm.
And um, gosh, I can just think of different people, but I can think of even in my own life, of myself, in terms of like how to like do something that's not traditional, or all the, I would say like all the attorneys in this group, because they're, you're getting more, Dallas, every time there's
No,
more
it's like
attorneys.
this weird, it's like acting coaches and attorneys, recovering
Attorneys.
attorneys.
But like that kind of thing is doing something different in the law, is like building a table instead of like trying to cozy up to the law firm table. It's like you're building a table.
Yeah.
um yeah, and I, there's me and there's a few other, I know a few other attorneys who are doing weird things too, so I
Yeah.
think I could do that
Great.
metaphor. Mm-hmm.
Great. So we have the framework,
Yeah.
or we have the theme. We want to just get clear on like what, when it comes to building your own table,
Mm-hmm.
what belief, what new belief does my dream client need to adopt in order to say yes to investing in themselves? So it could be something as like, you said it, right? I need to stop trying to find a seat at a table and just build my own.
Mm-hmm.
So we know what's the theme and then what's the belief we want to reinforce. And then you can pick one, right? You
Mm-hmm.
said the metaphor maker. So can you think of a scene from a film, a book, a reference from your own life that
Mm-hmm.
that connects to this theme?
To the belief that stop trying to
Mhm.
get a seat, build your own table. Yeah, from a movie or a book. Oh, you know, I mean, I don't know if this is, it's just because like people have been talking about the new Adam Grant book about like, I think it's called like Stop Thinking or Think Differently. And he just talks about like how there's all these assumptions that we make
Mhm.
um about everything. And really what we need to do is like just not assume. And so to me, like all of those are kind of like the idea of stop trying to, yeah, stop trying to like fit into or fit in with this model,
Yep.
like look at it differently.
Yeah.
And yeah, yeah,
So great.
yeah.
Okay, so we're going to sit down to bullet point this out. Sounds like
Mm-hmm.
the first bullet point is something like, I don't know if you've heard about Adam Grant's book, but it's called Think Differently. Here's the
Mm-hmm.
synopsis.
Mm-hmm.
Step 2, what part of this metaphor, right? What part of the book relates back to your dream client?
Got it.
And so it might be, I see so many women of color getting the degrees, getting the jobs, doing their nails, like doing all of the things we're supposed to do to find a seat at the table. When in fact, we're thinking about the wrong table. Here's how
Mm-hmm.
what he says relates to you.
Okay.
And then step 3, we just get to flesh that out a little bit. Step 4, the moral of the story, right? So if you take one thing away from this video today, I want it to be that you identify like one place in your life where you've been trying to get approval or permission or space and how you can give it to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Done.
Yeah. Perfect.
And you could follow the same theme with the contrarian.
Yeah.
Right. If I hear one more person talking about Black women needing a seat at the table, I'm going to throw my phone out the window. We don't need a seat at the table. What we need is to create our own table.
All right.
Like, here's why trying to get a seat at the table is the wrong approach. Instead, right, carve your own path, make your own choices, own your own life, right? When you do that, here's what happens. And you could tell a story about, I have a law degree and I have left the law, and here's why.
Mm-hmm.
Now I have my own table. When you're able to do something like this, here's the benefit for the long term. Talk about wealth, talk about legacy, right? Talk about that internal shift we are all seeking so that our insides match the progress we feel we've made on the outside. It comes by building your own table. There's another video.
Yeah.
Is this helpful?
It's immensely helpful. It's everything.
Cool.
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
All right, so let's
Okay.
break that down for
Okay.
everyone. Step one, spark interviews. What 3 to 5 themes do you notice? Now it just creates a container for us to generate content ideas more easily and also to create this through line for your target audience. You're not just talking about random stuff, right? We're connecting it back to the messages they most need to hear.
Mhm.
Step two, what is the belief they need to adopt in order to say yes to themselves through working with you? Step four, grab a content framework. Answer the questions outlined in the framework, and you've got your video outline. When you start to do this consistently, you'll start to just be in your life and say, like, ooh, there's the contrarian. Let me write that down.
Mhm. Okay.
Uh,
Got it.
Thoughts, questions, anything else you want to share in order to feel complete with our conversation?
I feel very complete. I'm really, really happy to be a part of this community. Every time I talk, even when I'm just listening, I get so much from it. And so I really just want to say thank you to all of you and thank you, community. And I'm excited about this. I feel much more empowered in both areas, in video and in translating the messaging. So
It's
that's it.
awesome.
Yeah.
I'm so glad. Will
Thank you.
you in the Facebook group share the mantra that you come up with?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Great. And then, so your first video is coming out on Tuesday?
Tuesday.
Okay.
Yes. First video.
We're watching you.
And I know.
Great. That was
All right.
super fun. That was helpful for me just talking it through, Toya. So thank you for bringing this to the table.
Yeah. Thank
Great.
you.
You're welcome.